A healthy immune system will help protect us from all sorts of pathogenic invaders, and if we do come down with an illness, it will help us recover from it swiftly. This video will give you a brief overview of the immune system and what we can do to keep it functioning. When thinking about the immune system and how to improve it, we first need to understand what the immune system is. So the immune system is a system of cells and processes that work together to protect us from pathogens. Pathogens are anything that can harm us, either from outside, like bacteria and viruses that cause illness, but the immune system can also protect us against things that arise internally, like tumours. It's comprised primarily of different types of white blood cells and the lymph nodes, where white blood cells can share information with each other. The immune response is complex and pretty incredible. There's still so much about the immune system that isn't yet understood, but we do know that the following happens when you get an infection of some kind. The pathogen, like a coronavirus cell, enters your system and starts replicating, increasing the level of infection. The pathogen will have what is called an antigen. Circling white blood cells will bump into it and recognise the antigen as a pathogen and will start to develop an antibody to neutralise it. The white blood cells will congregate at the lymph nodes to swap information about the infection and make more antibodies. You may have had an illness where your glands become swollen. These glands are actually your lymph nodes swelling because of the increased number of immune cells sharing information. The gut connection. The intestine is one of the primary entry points for pathogens, so the immune system has to be active here. However, the intestine is also home to many bacteria that are not at all dangerous and in fact confer benefits to us, like making neurotransmitters and helping with digestion. So the gut microbiome has developed a system where it trains the immune system to recognise pathogens but allow non-pathogenic microbes to reside there. Having a healthy microbiome can actually prevent the immune system from overreacting. There are a few common myths about the immune system. Feed a cold, starve a fever. Nope, you need to feed a fever too. The raised body temperature that happens with a fever requires additional energy to maintain. Also, the healing requires additional protein, and all processes need vitamins and minerals, so starving a fever is not a good idea and won't help you get better quicker. Supplements help strengthen the immune system. Unless you're deficient in micronutrients, there is no evidence that supplements can help your immune system, or anything else for that matter. A stronger immune response is better. An appropriate immune response is what is good, and stronger may actually mean it can be worse. Let's have a look at that a bit more closely. When the immune response is too strong, it can be really detrimental to our health. Inflammation is part of the immune response, and in an acute way it can be extremely useful, but chronically it can cause problems. In an appropriate response to infection, the immune system will activate and immune cells will proliferate and produce antibodies. We may get a temperature and there'll be some local inflammation, which all works together to kill the virus or bacteria, and we get better. But if we don't get better because of an underlying health condition, for example, our immune response continues. This causes damage to tissues, as the white blood cells can kill our own cells as well as the pathogen. We can see this happening in COVID-19 in lung tissue of those that become very ill with it. The inflammation in the lungs causes breathing to become difficult, and this makes healing much slower because less oxygen is circulating to the cells. So what does the immune system need? Strangely enough, all that healthy living advice you hear all the time is what your immune system needs to stay healthy too. It needs a balanced diet with plenty of fibre, a good microbiome, good sleep and not too much stress, and of course a bit of exercise. We'll go into diet in a bit more detail in a moment, but let's talk about rest and exercise. Now, rest includes sleep, but also in this context also means not too much stress. Now, stress can cause the immune system to ramp up and potentially overreact. Now, exercise has been shown to increase the circulation of immune cells and reduce unnecessary inflammation. But if you are ill, hold off exercise until you get better. Exercise is something you can do to improve your immune system in general, but exercising while you're unwell can just put extra stress on your body. Now, the important question, what can we do? We are what we eat, and therefore a good diet is important. I suppose I would say that because I'm a dietitian, but it's true. Protein does a lot of jobs in the body, including making muscle cells and carrying oxygen around. But antibodies are proteins too, so we need to make sure we have enough of it for a strong immune system. Energy keeps our cells running, including those of the immune system. Now, we need plenty of vegetables and plant foods to provide vitamins, minerals and phytonutrients, which are anti-inflammatory, and fibre, which of course feeds the bacteria that lives in our gut. Fluid is so important too, particularly if you have a fever, which means you sweat more and then lose more fluids, or a runny nose for that matter. So is there a magic food that makes us feel better when we're ill? Well, chicken soup springs to mind, but it isn't because it's magic. It's because it contains chicken, which is protein, potatoes, energy, vegetables, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients and fibre, and water, fluid, i.e. everything we need. It doesn't have to be chicken soup though. Lentil soup could arguably be even better as it's higher in fibre.